communicate with everybody and to show them all the good stuff we have here. And so we're starting to do this, and unfortunately I'm the guinea pig, which is, I'm just perfect for video. And that's what, 10 pounds? That's exactly what I need. Well, it looks like this is it for us, so I'm going to take some coffee. Get ready to go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and give my presentation, but feel free to just kind of jump in because it's a pretty small crowd. I was kind of thinking we might have a little bit more and keep it a bit more formal, but let's just talk. All right, Heraclitus, he said, the only permanent thing in life is change. And this town from the beginning has changed many, many times. Started with the Apollo program. Basically every person that stepped on the moon was from the Lago. We've had the cancellation of the Apollo program, the shuttle program, we were up, and then the cancellation of the shuttle program. We had the oil bust, we've had the real estate boom, we had the bust of the 80s. So everything grows in contracts. In 2007, we had a city reserve of over $1 million with a tax rate of 3.9, rounded off. And in 2013, we had just over $300,000 with a tax rate of 5.62. So I want to be clear on that. Reserves going down, tax rate going up. We were not in a fiscally sound position for our city. Now, a lot of things contributed to that. 2007, we picked up in the Keys Club, our swimming pool. 2008, we went through Hurricane Ike. 2009, we resurfaced the swimming pool. We're still recovering from Hurricane Ike. 2010, real estate bubble, layoffs at NASA, splash pad, swimming pool. You know that coming up well. 2011, we had our 50th anniversary. That was actually a very good thing. It was nice to get everybody involved. It was, I don't know if you guys were there. If you were, it was a great celebration and something we needed to do. 2012, we opened the doors to the City Hall, the Brad Hill Fitness Complex. In 2013, the City Council decided to build back our reserves back up to the recommended state funding level, which was for the 2014 budget. The 2014 budget, we kept our tax rate the same. We planned on putting $12,000 into our reserves. By the end of the year, we put in $63,000 in our reserves. 2015 budget, which is the year that we're in right now, we're planning on putting another $40,000 into our reserve, which will bring us up really close, plus or minus a couple $1,000s to our state recommended levels. Which, if you get it, that was 2 budget cycles. We've been able to crawl back up to our state recommended level. That is huge. That is truly amazing. Again,
what is the state recommended number?
It's running around, it's 25% of our operating expense, so it fluctuates and goes up and down based on our expenses. Now, it has been lowered a little bit because of the way we do business. We're changing we're changing the way we spend money. We're trying to be more efficient. So we've actually lowered that number and actually raised our reserves. So they're coming together quite nicely. Like I said, 2 budget cycles, we're going to be off $1,000 here or there. We may be off as much as $5,000 depending on our spending events. But look at the magnitude. In 2007, we've been taking money out. We've taken over $700,000 out of our reserves. And so now this is the first 2 years that we put money back in. That's a nice trend. And we've kept our tax rate the same for 3 years.
So how much is the reserve in dollars?
I've watched it now.
How much is projected in dollars?
We're projecting about $450,000. That's what we're shooting for. And once again, that's going to fluctuate some. We really didn't plan on coming in at $63,000. We're trying to, like I said, we've changed a lot of things that we do business, the way we do business. Midpoint, I think we were thinking maybe $40,000. We were kind of happy at the end when we came into it. It came about $63,000, so we did really well in preparing our spendings. In doing that, we've also brought in a couple of really great programs. We have a senior fitness program that's here every Tuesday, Thursday at 10 a.m. And it has anywhere from 15 to 25 people that show up to that. One of the great stories is that when we first started this, Denise, our instructor, had a lady who wanted to walk down the hall for her granddaughter's wedding. She was with a cane, and after about a month and a half, wasn't it? A month and a half, she was able to walk down the aisle without assistance of a cane. And that's a great story, but 20% of our population is over 65. That's a rounded off number, because it actually goes at 62.5 statistically, and it's 23 point some %. So just round it down to 60, 65. And So if you want to get into small numbers, you can get on data.inc.com and look at exact numbers. But it's still a pretty large percentage of our population is retired. So it's nice to be able to offer that service to them. And we did that still with keeping within our budget. We also started something we call the CERT program. We don't, it's the Harris County program, the Citizen Emergency Response Team. And that's something we did in February. Is that right, Ed? That's February, and we had about 50 people, I think 45 completed the class. Basically, that is an augmentation to our emergency management coordinator, which is Tom Merchant, and he's been doing it for 15 years, 10 years? Yeah, he's been doing it for a very long time. And so this is kind of a logistical arm of our emergency response team, and they will take care of, it's more of something that will back up the first responders, the fire department, the police department. Matter of fact, Ed White, at the beginning of the school year, we had a couple guys come out there and help direct traffic because, you know, it's the first of the school year with a bunch of, elementary school kids. It's always fun. It's exciting. So to augment the police force, there will be a multiplier. We've had some people come out there, and they're here. We've divided the city into 4 parts. The condos, the front section, the middle section, and Taylor Crafts, where we have a captain for each one of those. So our emergency management system only have to make 1 or 2 calls, and they call the rest of the people of the team. And it's here to, like I said, support the firefighters, the first responders, the ambulance, in a time of disaster, or any time that chief wants to call them up, or we need to call them up for extra help. And like I said, they're here to help support all the things that go on. If we have water, we need to distribute that for hurricane. If we have food, we need to. These are the guys who are going to do it. And once again, they're all volunteers. And Tom told me that he's hoping to put together another class for 2015. So if you're not part of it, please come out. If you don't want to get out and be involved in search and rescue, or if you want to be involved in, some of the paper management, because paper management and document management after hurricane is pretty intense, from what I understand. I haven't been through it, but last year we did very good. Thank you, Ann. Keeping all the documents, because that's where the checks come from. If our paperwork's not online, they don't cut the checks. We've also established an events committee, which right now is a bunch of ladies. We have any guys that want to join. Can you hear me, Herb? Okay. If we have any guys who want to join, please do. The events committee have been fantastic this year. They're doing the dive-in movies, where we show a movie in front of the swimming pool, the movies in the park. They brought back the 4th of July parade. Yay, that was very fun. I was also told this year that we probably need to do our bicycle contest. We didn't do it last year. There was a lot of kids that like to have the bicycles judged, and I don't know what awards will come up with them, but I think we'll do that this year. We also did something that was really fun, the tailgate party for the Texans. We brought out a couple, everybody brought out the grills. We had one big grill that everybody used. The Agarians brought out their RV with a big screen TV. We also had the game here. We had a great time. Unfortunately, the ladies of the committee couldn't get the Texans in there, but it was still fun. They also worked with the Christmas event, the Ed White Choir, and the Caroling in the Park. They did a great job last year. We had a potluck. It's not really a dinner, it's more of a potluck sweet event, where everybody brings cookies and something that's really ingratiated with a lot of sugar. Luckily, with the eggnog and the adult drinks out there, it's quite an exciting event. Unfortunately, it rained last year, but we still had a really good time. And they brought back the Easter egg hunt. Now, I know the year before that we didn't have it. It was kind of disheartening for some people, but our 55 and over Friendship Club got with the Ladies in Bed Committee, and they stuffed the eggs, and they helped put everything out. It was a very fun but short-lived event. If you haven't been to one, you need to go to, because the kids, they are quick. Yeah. It's like a bunch of piranhas on a calf. Yeah. But they had a great time. And the little tiny ribbon in front of there, they're all standing there ready to go. It's like a NASCAR race. So this is one of the things that I really didn't see coming. A Lago's fishing tournament. That's pretty cool. Last year we had a fishing tournament, 2013. It was the first year we had it. We're having another one. It's this Sunday. Last year it was pretty good. I don't know how many fish they caught, but they had a really good turnout. After the contest, we all get in there for awards and ceremony, then we have a banquet dinner, and the fish get bigger, the tails get longer. This year, this Sunday, we have 75 entrants. That's amazing. That is truly amazing. This year, the city is working with Civic Plus to redesign our website. Because our old website is kind of old, it's very confusing, and it's not user-friendly. One of the biggest things we have is, by the time you try to find that information, you get frustrated, you move on, and what we're trying to do here is increase accessibility for the citizens so they can get in and get the information they want. We're putting on the front page a calendar with 3 big spots up there, the most used buttons that you need to get to, one for pet adoptions or the pets. We have a lot of animals that we end up picking up, animal control. And so we want to get those animals back as soon as we can to the owner, to put a picture of the animals up there, the cats, the dogs, whatever. Or if not, then we have links to other places to get them, a good home. We're trying to put up surveys, a chance for the citizens to put comments in there. We're going to have a blog spot for the councilmen to write, their opinions of what they're doing, where they're going, what they're thinking. And probably most importantly, there's a section for everybody to write their concerns, or if you have any comments on what's going on in the city. So it all comes down to that you get a more chance, because I know nobody, we're not having big crowds at the city council meeting. So we're making decisions based on what we think is best. And it's also be a lot better. It would give the council a greater chance to make a decision if we have more input. So this will give everybody the chance to have that input. Probably a limited data for the first 3 or 4 months, but I think in the long run it'll be good. We started this year a community rating system. Actually, we started it last year. The community rating system is a system that's put on by FEMA. And what that does is allow it's a system where they rate the community based on national standards. And we've started this, I guess, beginning of last year. We just had our CAB visit, which is a community assessment visit, where they come out, take a look at our community. We had to reach our initial point, which is 500 points. The points don't really mean anything to us. But we reached that, so the next phase was to have the visit. They came out and visited, looked at our documentations, and thank you for everybody who brought in their elevation certificates, because that was a big thing. We got accepted in the program, the short version is, and now it's going to be us just trudging through the federal bureaucracy and filling out paperwork and getting to the point. But what can happen is that as we build up points, you get a reduction in your insurance. So the first level is 5% reduction in insurance, and if we can get everybody in the city a 5% reduction in insurance, it's well worth the time and effort that we put into it.
So you're saying everybody have their area survey and submit results?
If you've had a site elevation lately, or if you have your original site elevation, bring it up here, we'll get a copy of it and put it in with our packet.
Okay.
So, the good thing about the elevation certificates, they don't expire with time, even though we have some subsidence here. If you got put in, if you got, when you bought your house, let's say you bought it in the 70s or the 80s, and you got an elevation certificate, which you did get when you bought your house, bring it up here, we'll make a copy. It's just a little bit more data point for us.
Well, as a result of what was going on last year, but I was thinking
Well, yeah, so that's a whole different conversation. The Bigger Water Act, to an extent, did get repealed. There's some different variations. So you're grandfathered in at your current rate. And we were talking about, with BAHEP, about bringing them back out here to talk about the new, I forgot what it's called, but it's the Roman water, anyway. But Bigger Water was the first one. Now they've repealed some of it. I don't say repealed, but they've kept some of the things like the grandfathering in place, that you don't have to go up to full actuarial, this is your primary home. Secondary homes go straight to, So they've changed some of it, so it's not such an impact to cities like ours, cities like Galveston. But like I said, that's probably more of a conversation that BAHEP should be having here, and we'll probably bring them out again like we did last year to say, here's what's going on with this whole flood insurance. Because last year, I think it was 89% of our city was going to be put in the AE category from X, which was, and if you sold your home, you instantly got moved into a different category or moved into higher actuarial, which was going to be devastating for real estate values. And luckily, there was enough, mostly it was driven from Louisiana, and then also the BAHEP. So a lot of our people really pushed against that, so they did come up with some, I guess the last minute was, what was it, June, July, they passed that? Yeah, and so they passed some of the repeal on it, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not really that up on it. I know a lot of it happened, and we probably need to get into it in order to have BAHEP, which are the guys that did the Bay Area Economic Partnership. Those are the guys that came out last year again to talk about the Bigger Water Act. I'm not going to get into the minutia of what we've done operationally to change to get us to actually bring that extra money in. I'm not sure you really care about, what we've done operationally, but what we have done is we're just operating more efficiently. And one of the things I've heard a lot of people about is the Brad Fitness Center. It's paying for itself. As a matter of fact, the way we've changed and structured some of the memberships up there is actually paying for itself, and the revenues, excess revenues are generating, they're covering the operational costs of the swimming pool. That's what I wanted to point out to you. In the last, since 2007, one of the biggest costs we've had is our swimming pool. So our memberships for that, the tennis court, everything are actually covering our operational costs of the swimming pool, which is a huge burden on the taxpayers because now you're not having to pay for that. And it's always been a loss leader for us. It's not even a leader, it's just a loss for us because we can't charge enough to break even on the swimming pool, the operation of the swimming pool, between the chemicals, electricity, and the plaster repairs. Unless you want pool memberships, are about $500. So it's something the city's been eating, but now we're actually generating enough income to cover that, which is, that's not a bad deal. Okay, so all the stuff that we've done in the past. Now, where are we going in the future? We're looking to January, February, form a committee, see about making Lago a green city. And by that I mean solar, using wind, maybe buying electricity cooperatively, whatever other ideas the committee can come up with. But we're looking to do something that is going to give us kind of that leadership role back in, overall city municipality leadership of forward thinking, which I'm excited to see what the committee comes up with. So if you're interested in doing that, come by the City Hall, let us know. Other things we've been working on, and where we're going, the Parks Board, we've been working with the Parks Board the Parks Board has been doing a lot of things, keeping the parks clean, keeping a lot of the overall aesthetics of the Lago in a very nice condition. We've had a change in our liaison. Carolyn Stanley is now the liaison with the Parks Board, and they put together a really nice package for a toy over at Whitty Park. And that will probably be going in, I guess, third part of 2015. The City Council passed that, I guess what's the last City Council meeting? Penned the deal, set up the contracts, and that should be up and going in no time at all, which is really nice. Our Planning and Zoning Board, which probably the worst committee you can be on. But it's also probably the most productive committee that we need to have. It's basically looking at codes and where we want to be as far as a conceptual part of the city. Do we want to allow tattoo shops, massage parlors, and head shops in our city? Well, no, we don't. But we need to make the codes that are going to craft our business districts so we're going to have a nice, the kind of business that we'd like to have that are going to keep the Lago sustainable for the next few years, the next decade and beyond. And it also deals with deals with some of our residents, how we need to craft our codes so as the situation changes in our town and the environment changes around us, that our codes keep up with our changing. So Ann and I talked a little bit about this today, what we're going to call this. So I'm just going to use the guild. So we're revitalizing our historical guild. At this point, the Friendship Club is taking all the documentation from the Historical Society and looking through the newspaper clippings and other documents, and they're sorting them out so we can do something where we can put it in kind of a scrapbook booking page or in some videos so we can have that history and either put it up on the website or put it out so people can view it easily. And so younger people like, myself, can go back and easily learn and read about the history. And I tell you, it's kind of fun. Every time I go by the table, there's a ton of papers out there. I run home real quickly and lose an hour because it's just neat to see what happened in the city of Lago 40 years ago, or why did they do this, or why do we have that, so it's just nice to have that anchor towards our history of what's going on, because it's inevitable that if we don't have a good history, change is coming, and it always is. A situation larger than us and towns are going to drive changes, and unless we as a community, make those positive long-term decisions for our future, we're going to slide. I always tell my daughter that either you make a decision or someone's going to make that decision for you. And we must decide. Hold on a second, I'm just changing my mind. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and it's really important that we have that history, so we have a good foundation, and we're looking forward. And like I said, I told my daughter, that either you make a decision or that decision is going to be made for you. Right? We must decide if we want to make the changes to keep a Lago affordable and lifestyle that we love so much sustainable for years to come. And overall, we can do that. Thank you. So now that I've got that dog and pony show out of the way, it was kind of, yeah. Yes, sir, Chief.
Hey, one thing that you guys did that I really do appreciate is the fact that you moved the voting place to the City Hall rather than in one.
Yeah, that's a good, it is, and,
Because that used to mess us up every single voting day.
it's very, I wouldn't say cacophonous, but it is very congested at best.
Yeah.
And, you know, once you get people there in voting line, people start getting short-tempered. The last thing you need is kids and short-tempered people.
Right.
No, it's an overall good thing. I don't know who drove that. It was Matt Paulson or us or the committees, but it's nice that we're having it up here. It's a lot easier on everybody because they can get in and get out. Yes, sir.
What's the latest on the situation with the contracting for fire service and ambulance service?
Okay, our ambulance service, we changed over to Nassau Bay. We got rid of Clemcy. And I guess I kind of did that. When I first got on city council, I was looking at their business model, like, oh, this is not going to be sustainable. And it was just consistently going up in price. And we went with Nassau Bay, which we're paying at a fixed price, and we've been paying that for 2 years now. Unless there's any complaints, I haven't heard any complaints about the ambulance service. It seems to be doing fine, and it was about almost a 30%, 40% reduction in price. Same thing with the fire department. With the fire department, our previous contract, I think we signed it initially in 2006. And it came due in 2010, and it's never green policy, so it's not been going on. And it was related, it was actually tied to Seabrook's bonds. And so as the bond scale escalated, our payments escalated pretty well as well. And right now, Seabrook has a new bond coming up for another $750,000 fire truck, which if we were under that same contract, we'd be obligated for that as well. Last year, we changed the way we did contract. We're a fixed price with them now. And there's a small variable in there, and that's for inflation. Basically, it works out to be 1.5% for inflation. And that's an evergreen contract too, and unless the Seabrook Volunteer Fire Department says we're not doing it anymore, we'll continue on with that contract, and it saves us a good amount of money. Anybody else? Anybody have questions for Chief? Yeah.
Oh, I'm a crazy.
So I'm pretty excited about the whole green concept, and yes, we're hoping to get some solar panels for the flagpole up front. And like I said, it might take us a while, but we're working on that. I think it's going to be pretty exciting if we can get that. Once again, we're looking at the committee to drive some grants so we don't have to pony up the initial expense or only share some of the cost of the expense with those items. But if we do have another hurricane, which eventually we will, we'll be able to one of the first people to have electricity here, and we can use this area right here with refrigeration for food and water to keep things going until we get our electricity and the basic services back. And yes, we're repairing some of the roads. It just takes a while. We contracted with, Brooks, yes, to fix our 3 major intersections, Tallowood, Lakeshore, Bayview, and Les Talley. That should be in the process, hopefully before Christmas. And we're working on long-term planning to fix our roads, a little bit each year. We just don't have the budget to go out there and drop $3 million on budgeting, and I don't think anybody wants to be obligated to another bond. We've got $1.8 million still on this one. Now we're down about 1.6. And do you know what our bond is on this one? We're about 1.6, 1.5.
On this building?
Yeah, debt remaining.
Oh, golly.
We got
Yeah,
3 years into it, 4 years into it.
About 1.3 something.
Okay, so we're doing better now. So $1.3 million on this one. I think we ought to get rid of this or get close to getting done before we ought to get any more debts. Last thing we need is more debt, and we have no idea what's going on with our next president or, stock market's been up and down, so let's keep the money in our wallet right now.
Hey, Robbie, years ago, they used to have the mud pumping trucks that would come through and...
We're looking into that.
Because right in front of Blacksmith's house on Hickory Ridge, in the center of the street, one side's probably about 5 inches lower than the other. It's actually become kind of dangerous for, people on bicycles anyway. If you don't see it, and you're right there on the, center edge, but that's just an area just to let you know about it.
No, we've actually talked about, Brooks about mud pumping, they don't do it, but we talked with, there's another person we have coming in, I guess.
Concrete Racing Corporation.
CRC, that's it.
Just a
Yeah, and so we're looking at doing that, we're also, Jeff's gone out, Jeff Tate's gone out, and he's made kind of an assessment of Taylor Crest, but we also need to have him come up and look at some of those other properties.
Yeah, the problem is if those unlevel streets are located near a storm sewer, and that's the problem, it's washing out all the dirt underneath, is the water district volunteering to fix
The water district is actually paying about 60-40 split on those three properties that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to Mario, and he's like, yeah, that's fine, that's exactly what happens.
This is probably about 150 feet from a storm drain further down the street.
No, I went and looked at the property, the little piece of, and that's a good thing for mud jacking, because we can't grind it down. It'd be better just to mud jack it.
Luck of the draw, because, it was ironic, but it really started after all the other streets had been fixed. It wasn't like that before.
Honestly, I have no idea why they picked the streets that they picked to fix.
Well, Hickory Ridge was fine when they did all those.
Yeah.
It was like, as soon as they finished everything, it started sinking. But I remember they used to come in with the mud pumpers and, try to lift it up some.
I tell you what, the whole town's recovering from the 2011 drought. I think everybody had some foundation damage from that. And unfortunately, we can't do it tomorrow. Just we gotta, go out for bid and do the things the city has to do. But, it's on the, we know about it, Hopefully we can get to it next year. And if not, if we can't get to it right now, we maybe just do a real quick mud pumping if it continues to be a real big problem.
Well, that's not a big problem, but eventually it will be.
It is, and like I said, we're gonna have to do it a little bit at a time because we just don't have the budget to go out and drop $1 million to get everything fixed at once. Actually, probably, I think we looked at, when Brad took over, he said it's gonna cost about $10 million to fix everything. We said, we don't have $10 million, nor we're gonna, go out and go, hey, we need $10 million, but I think we can do it over time, put 10,000 in. I think we have, $17,000 scheduled for that. We have, about $10,000 going into fixing those three areas over there, gives another $7,000 to where we can, maybe we can hit that as a, we're gonna prioritize what we need to prioritize, and then we'll hit that one first, if that's something we do. But mud jacking is something we've got to do, because we can't replace those slabs. When we start looking at the cost of concrete, so that's not gonna happen for a time. Unless we hit the lottery or the oil,
There it is.
Okay.
What do you know about the homeowners association and that sort of thing? Because the 1 through 4 is essentially useless, except for what they take in, they barely maintain the boat landing. And they're useless as far as enforcing deed restrictions.
I know they're looking for new people on the board.
What?
I know they're looking for new people on the board.
Well,
I take that you're not.
somebody younger than me.
Well, I know Mark Liberty and Mark Briggs both have had some life changes and are looking to move on. I think Joe Nugget and Jeff Mahalik are looking to step involved, and I've heard maybe Nicole Raymer is going to be the third wheel in that event, and maybe they'll get a little bit more involved. And I was, this is section 6 and 7 right here, our new people for 6 and 7. So when we get some of the personnel solidified, we're going to come back up here and have a powwow. And the city, one thing is, as a city, we're trying to tell the homeowners association that we're here to support them. So if they're having a problem child or some things that aren't going on, that make your top 3 list, bring them to us, and then we'll talk with them, and if it gets that far, we'll bring chief in, and we'll do whatever needed. Yes, sir.
When you meet with them, would you give me a notice so I can come up?
Oh, I think that'd be great. Would it be good to have Hayward up too?
And I was gonna bring Hayward.
Okay. Hayward's our enforcement officer, and he's still learning the codes. So I'll be honest with you, that was so far down on our list of burning gerbils to get to. We're now finally out of the treading water phase and picking up direction, so we'd like to get into the...
That business up there still has 2 trucks in their driveway.
Well, actually, they're doing pretty well. We got rid of 3 of the trucks. Got rid of 3 of the trucks. They're moving to Pasadena. It was some very lively conversations, but we're making progress. So you know, don't look what we got to deal with, look where we come from.
There was a council person at one time working, trying to see if you could combine the deed restrictions for the three homeowners associations and take it over under the city.
No.
Have you looked at the actual,
Oh, yeah, I at least for section 3 that we're in. And we probably stupidly voted to, go into section 1, which didn't have anything. They were totally broke, and without our monies, they wouldn't have had anything to do anything with. And that might have been the best thing to do, let that young thing go defunct, and the city take over that.
Well, you remember that the city and the homeowners association are two completely separate entities, right?
Two separate.
No.
Stay that way.
We're here to,
It was essentially, 1 through 4 was essentially defunct for several years.
yeah.
And then it, all of a sudden, like a phoenix, rose out of the ashes.
well, about a month ago, Bill Cleek and Missy and company had a meeting for trying to replace them as officers, because Bill Cleek is moving on, they're doing different things. And so they had a general advertisement out to all the people that live in our estates area. And I think the grand total